Stone Temple Pilots getting ready for their first tour with Musing or Duck Gut.
She was fun to hang out with.
March 2nd and features several festival dates, including Rock on the Range, Welcome to Rockville, and Florida's Fort Rock.
An
extremely rare Paul McCartney project is making the rounds
that
online. Only 3 copies of the recording, which was made in McCartney's home in 1965, features him speaking in a fake American accent.
I know, we're idiots.
Everybody.
I know, exactly.
Welcome to
We can't have everybody
Marty
being degenerates
says
like
he
us.
makes experimental tapes just for his Beatles bandmates as a fun thing they could play late at night. That's entertainment. Jennifer Bolsoni, NBC News Radio.
Dunc and Holder on a Wednesday, December 6th. Be careful out there. The weather is miserable all of a sudden. Cold, rainy. Be careful driving around and having to do anything outdoors, including fly. Jeff and I are flying to Atlanta tonight. We're going to be doing the show from the iHeart Studios in Atlanta tomorrow. So we're making the roadie, taking the show on the road, doing it all, doing it big here at Dunc and Holder.
I'll be glad to fly out of town in this mess. This is an ugly day. It's the ugliest day we've had in a long time in New Orleans.
I'm forgetting what the weather was like maybe in January, but this is probably one of the uglier days of the year, given it's cold and
wet,
rainy. Yeah, what's up with that?
Yeah,
Misery.
That cold front came through at the wrong time. But we're getting out of town, so let's do it.
Let's do it. Yep, Saints going to take on the Falcons. Of course, huge game for the Saints. Probably an even bigger game for Atlanta, since right now they're on the outside looking in. So it's something that you figure they're going to be geared up for. They're coming off of the loss against Minnesota. And, Jeff, we're going to be talking a lot about that today. But just a heads up, we're going to have an abbreviated show today because Tulane men's basketball is going to be taking the court uptown. They're going to be taking on Southern, and we will give it away.
We'll yield.
We will give it away to the Graph and to Tulane. I think the pregame show starts at 11:30, so we will end somewhere around 11:30, a little bit before possibly. So if you want to get involved in the show, we've got some time for phone calls today. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. We're going to have 2 guests on today, as while we're gone and not in the Dome, our prep staff is going to be running around like chickens with their heads cut off all weekend long. It is championship weekend in the Superdome for prep football. So, of course, our prep guru, Jim Derry, is going to jump on in about 20 minutes. I'd have him on tomorrow, but games start tomorrow. So we're going to get the full scope. And that's why I even pushed him up earlier. I said 10:30 because there are I know he's going to be broadcasting 6 games throughout the 3 days with the select and non-select. So the biggest weekend of the year in prep football, and lots of local connections, both in select and non-select.
I hope he brings his parka. I'm assuming the Dome is as cold for prep games as it is for Saints games, but Jim might need a stocking cap, gloves, scarf.
On the field, yes. He'll be seeing his breath. It's like his playing in Lambeau.
Yeah, because it's freezing in there for us. But I'm looking forward to listening to some of their calls, and might even venture out there this weekend. I really want to see Puka Williams in person, and I believe they play on Saturday, so we'll be back from Atlanta by then. Be a free weekend, no Saints game, so it's a good time to check out those prep games.
I'll just listen, and I'll sit at home over the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, those guys do a great job on the broadcast, and we'll talk to JD about that and get a preview of all those games.
No doubt about that. But also, we've got Will Guillory coming on. It's Wobble Wobble Wednesday, and of course, Will Guillory's got to be on. The Pelicans are going to be taking on the Denver Nuggets tonight, 7 o'clock tip at the Smoothie King Center. Of course, you can listen to that game on our sister station, 99.5 FM WRNO. And also, it's Tattooed Santa Christmas. Dave, the ticket machine, with Pelicans tickets, we are going to be giving away a pair of tickets to Friday night's game against the Sacramento Kings. As we keep saying, if only that were Dave, but it's not Dave.
It sounds like Dave a little.
I don't know if that sounds like Dave.
No, it doesn't.
Oh.
That sounds
I
like
can't tell them apart. Who could it be? But no, we've got, we're going to give away a pair of tickets. Lower Bowl, of course, some great seats on a Friday night. And we're going to do the keyword thing again. Look, we'll call for the keyword in the 11 o'clock hour, the abbreviated 11 o'clock hour, so you're going to have to get it in quickly. But the keyword, Jeff, what's the keyword going to be when people call back? What's it going to be?
How about Yuletide?
Really?
Yeah.
Yuletide?
So festive. Way to go, Jeff.
Yuletide?
I'm feeling festive today.
That doesn't even pop up in our conversation, Yuletide.
Well, it doesn't matter. We'll make it work.
Yuletide.
Yuletide greetings.
All right, that's the keyword. You hear us call for the keyword in the 11 o'clock. I've already forgotten it, so I'll have to say it again maybe in the next segment and figure if people are still listening. And remember that has nothing to do with a sports show. Okay, I guess. I don't know.
Well, we're going to, you said that we would tattooed Santa. I'm trying to.
But that's Dave's band.
I'm trying to be in the theme.
That's Dave's band.
We're playing Ho Ho Ho. I'm being Christmas theme.
He's tattooed Santa every day. We could do that in July because of Dave.
We're giving away tickets. We're in the festive spirit. Yuletide.
Why wouldn't the keyword just be fiddlesticks then? Just something random.
Yuletide, that's why.
Jeff's making a decision. I'll do what I want.
It's like the other night. I said I have the mic and I make the rules.
Well, remember when I took the mic and took over the entire
that's what I'm saying.
The entire festive.
When you do have the mic in your hand, you
on a Monday night,
can make rules.
That's exactly. That's true. But the rules that the Saints are wondering is who is going to be on the field when they take on the Atlanta Falcons on a short week. That's probably the biggest storyline going into this game. Look, players who didn't practice yesterday, and it wasn't some big-time, full-scale practice because you're just trying to get your players ready for a Thursday night game. But for the Saints, Mark Ingram and Andres Pete both did not practice. Mark Ingram with a toe injury, Andres Pete with a groin injury. And Jeff, I remember you and me both looking at Andres Pete, and he looked like he was A, wiped out, tired, or B, hurt because he was walking slowly off the field after each series against the Panthers.
What's his injury?
It's a groin injury.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like he was
walking a little gingerly.
He had a hitch in his giddy up.
Yeah.
He was really struggling to get off the field. And look, that's a significant injury to a tackle because of the lateral movement, and that's exactly what your groin will be involved in trying to, facilitate that outside speed rush or to block the outside speed rush. And against the Falcons, they have two of the best speed rushers in the league, in Vic Beasley and this young kid, Takk McKinley, who the Saints were very high on. I remember distinctly, if you remember this, Larry, after the draft, when we were talking to Sean Payton, he was talking about the Saints almost traded, or almost, they were ready to draft Reuben Foster at the end of the first round. And he was talking about how much they like Reuben Foster, who, by the way, I think is maybe the biggest threat to Marshawn Lattimore for the defensive rookie of the year.
I haven't been keeping up with him.
He's having a great year.
Well?
Yeah.
Well, and, of course, he's hidden in oblivion in San Francisco.
That's what's going to help Lattimore, is Lattimore's on a winning team, a more high-profile team. But Foster was a guy that they liked, and I remember Sean Payton, unsolicited, and if you've covered Sean enough, when he just offers something up, it's pretty significant because he usually doesn't do that. And he said this kid, he was talking about Foster, his tape, he jumped out on tape when you watched him. He said the only other guy like that was the speed rusher from UCLA, McKinley. And so he just offered up McKinley out of nowhere. You know that they liked him because of the way he jumped off the tape. And he's having a great year. I think he's tied for the league lead among rookies in sacks. I think he's got 5, which is not a ton, but for a rookie, not a bad year for Takk McKinley. And he's going to be motivated because they're playing on a big stage, the national stage against the Saints on Thursday night.
No doubt about it. And speaking of tackle, if Andres Pete's not ready to go, what's the status of Teron Armstead? Well, he was listed as limited in practice on Tuesday with the thigh and shoulder injury, and I assume he's going to play. We could just tell by the looks of it he was trying to get into the game against Carolina, even though he was an injured active player. You can't see that very often at all when a guy is suited up injured and you assume he's not going to play. Usually you only see the backup quarterback is listed as did not play. But no, this was this week Chase Daniel and Teron Armstead, but he was limited in practice. I assume he's going to be back to play. But of course the other injuries, lots to talk about, but the most significant one and, well, definitely one. Marshawn Lattimore. People have been wondering what's going to happen with him. He was limited in practice on Tuesday. I'm going to suspect he's going to play, but that is something that is he going to be slowed up? We know he's going to be pinned up against Julio Jones. They haven't moved Lattimore from side to side too often, but this is the reason why you get that corner, and this is the game you get that corner. And I'm curious to see how healthy he is if he plays. But I'm assuming he's going to play on Thursday night.
Yeah, and I think one thing I'm seeing out of Atlanta, Larry, which is in response, I think, or not in response, that's not the right term. It falls in line with what Brian Finneran told us yesterday about the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium being not much of a home field advantage for the Falcons. Well, yesterday, their head coach, Dan Quinn, called out local fans, saying basically stop using your coasters, get off your butts, turn this into a home field advantage. So I'm sure that crowd is going to be amped tomorrow night for the Saints game.
I can only imagine, and if you missed it yesterday, we had an awesome interview with former Falcons wide receiver Brian Finneran, who does radio up in Atlanta, 680 AM The Fan, and he was passionate about how lame he thinks the fans are in this new stadium. So I can only imagine when he's really on a roll on his own show, he's probably going way off, screaming about the fans. Right. So, and look, it's not like the Saints have had major problems ever playing in Atlanta, because Saints fans go up there in droves no matter what. And when back in the years when they were really winning, Saints fans were louder than Falcons fans, and that was in the Georgia Dome. So I'm curious to see how they do it this week.
Let me read what Dan Quinn said. He said, "We need to make it as loud as we can. If you need an excuse later to be late for work on Friday, let me know. We'll get that handled for you. Let's get it turned up on Thursday. I used the analogy the other day. We built a $1 billion house, and we need to throw a $1 billion party. You know, a house warmer. Sometimes we're still using the coasters. We need to be as loud and as fun as we can. In other words, don't even use the coasters anymore. Have a wild party."
So they need like an Animal House.
Yes.
Bluto running around breaking bottles, and D-Day driving the motorcycle up the stairs.
Yes.
And playing his throat.
The keg going out the window.
Exactly.
Toga party. Yeah, that's what they're calling on. I don't know if Atlanta fans can do it. They're kind of a wine and cheese crowd.
I don't think they have it in them.
I don't either. They're just very much a transient society. Let's face it. They pale in comparison to New Orleans sports fans.
New Orleanians have that in them on a Tuesday. So I think on game day you can really get them ramped up.
My favorite part of covering games in the Dome, the one thing I do like about the move up top to the roof, is that we're up there with the denizens of the terrace. And you can tell when things start getting anxious in the Dome, because the terrace rats, as they're called, start banging on the wall, the upper wall of the Superdome, and you can feel it up there in the press box. You can hear it and feel it, and you know that's when things are getting crazy in the Superdome. That's the only thing I like about being up top.
It's usually accompanied with maybe an expletive or two.
Or two, yes. Yeah, that's a great group up in the terrace. Those are the real fans.
Yes, they live and die, and they're living high on life right now. So look, the Saints are looking to go 10-3. And Jeff, in this next segment, I wrote a column that was on the front page of the Times-Picayune today, and it has to do with the percentages of where they might land in as far as 1 through 6 seed and who they might play as of right now. And I use them all the time in my 1st and 10 column. And so the fact that we're teetering on playoff time, I highlighted that in my column today. It's from, and I get the info every week from MakeNFLPlayoffs.com. So we'll jump into that. And also, Jeff, one more time. All right, we'll do it one more time here on the next break. Give the keyword out. We're giving away Pelicans, Sacramento Kings tickets to the Friday night game in Smoothie King Center. We will give the keyword coming up next segment one more time, and then call for it in the 11 o'clock hour. And you call, you got the keyword, you get the tickets. So good times. This is, the third set of tickets we've been giving away, and they fly off the board. People come in droves to try to get these bad boys.
Well, yeah, you get to see Boogie go against his former team. You know, he's always motivated to show up the Kings. I mean, he destroyed them earlier this year, had one of the best games of his career. And we also, the seats we should note, which I think we've already noted, but they're great seats. They're in the lower bowl. And if you've been to the Smoothie King Center, you're down the lower bowl, man. You see it all. They have great halftime entertainment there. The Pelicans do a great job, one of the best in the league for halftime entertainment. So that'd be a great Friday night thing to do.
Absolutely. And also we'll have Will Guillory on top of the 11 o'clock hour to talk Pelicans. They're hosting the Nuggets tonight. And then in about 10 minutes, we'll talk with Jim Derry. Of course, big high school football weekend. State championships going on in the Dome Thursday through Saturday, so we'll talk with them about that. But we'll give some Saints numbers of postseason percentages. So here for that, come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
Back up, by the way.
Josh Innes, afternoons noon until 2.
Back up.
LSU controls its own destiny and everything. Now, they ain't going to beat Alabama. So they're playing for second in the West.
Boy.
Which I don't know. I mean, again.
That's something to shoot for.
Yeah, we can. If you play hard enough, you can be second place to Alabama.
So, Dave, you got an answer for me on when we're getting off?
Wizard World Comic Con.
Yeah, it's at 10:30.
So you mean 11:30?
What did I say? 10:30?
Yeah. Or should I get off like a minute early or what? Just count me down.
No. Let's see. It's hard time for 11:30.
So we can just. Do we need to play any spots going into it or what?
Let's see. Give me a second. Let me
yeah, that's fine. Just let me know. Whenever.
Up on sleep.
As long as it's before 11:28.
KFC $20 fill up.
That I know an answer.
Yeah, I mean it goes straight up to like right at 11:30. It's hard time to fire. So we'll probably break it like say 29:30.
Okay.
You know, and play like 30 seconds of music until it rolls into the broadcast.
If you love this song, then you have good taste.
Yeah, I'll start talking in y'all's ear.
Yep, all good.
And if you love the crisp and refreshing flavor of Pepsi Zero Sugar, then you have good taste in taste.
Yeah, dude, we got tickets for all of December. You know,
nice.
I mean,
that's cool.
I might even try to just get it extended in just for the rest of the season.
I mean, it's easy. People listening.
Oh, dude, man. I mean, like today, Gordy, he gave it away by having people call in and do their best ho 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 impression from the Christmas Story guy. Yeah, it was fun. You know, I mean, kind of, you know, and like all 4 lines blew up, and you know,
good.
So
people are listening. Good.
Yeah, you know, it's a really good sign. I mean, like. The phone lines, people are friggin' listening. I mean, you know, and the guy who won the other day was real complimentary of the station as a whole. He's like, look, man, it's been great having local live lineups that aren't talking about national storylines. You know, they're talking, you know, local stuff.
Yeah, we don't.
So
we don't really get into national.
We do national headlines, but I mean, the thing is, technically, you know. WWL doesn't really do any sports until 4 o'clock.
Right.
And even then, it's only like 5 minutes at a time between traffic, weather, and news.
Yeah, exactly.
More saving, more doing.
Now, here we come.
Carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Specialty items may be priced separately.
I'm doing a poll.
This is Dunc and Holder.
The poll meister.
New Orleans.
That's me. After a lull, Jeff has caught Twitter poll fever again. But first, before we get to his Twitter poll, one more time, the keyword, we'll call for it in the 11 o'clock hour at some point. And just to give you a heads up, we go off the air around 11:30, leading up to Tulane's men's basketball. So it will be sometime between 11 and 11:30. And you look at it, and what could the keyword be? And could it be triple-double? Could it be something sports-related? I'm befuddled with this keyword.
Yuletide is the keyword because we're in the Yuletide spirit here at our NOLA.com studios at the top of One Canal Place. We're both festive. Look, Larry and I both, I'll just go into it in not into too great a detail. We both had a late night on Monday. So yesterday's show, let's just say we were dragging a little bit, as are wont to do, usually on the weekend, not necessarily on Tuesday morning in this city, but it happens. As we all know, when you live in New Orleans, sometimes a New Orleans night can just take you someplace that you didn't expect. And that's what happened. So today we both are refreshed. We had a full night's sleep. Our brains are clear, and we are rocking.
Yep, so Yuletide, you hear that? That's your keyword. We'll ask for it in the 11 o'clock hour. You can call up 504-260-1280, and you can win tickets on Friday night in the lower bowl. So, Jeff, as you efforting your Twitter poll, all you got to do is look at the front page of our sports section, and we have officially done it. We've done it. We've thrown out a nickname.
Good gosh, what is going on with our staff? We need.
Why are you giving them a hard time?
Why are we actually forwarding this lame nickname?
It's not that lame. It's growing on me. Boom and zoom. So it's basically a poster. It's a poster. You could frame it of Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara. Officially jumped the shark. That's what we're calling
perfectly.
That's what we're doing. We're doing it.
Boom and zoom is on the front page of our Wednesday Times-Picayune. Great photo. We have incredible photographers here.
I mean, they're best. Unbelievable.
And they take all these great photos, and we don't get to use them enough. So we have kind of endeavored now at the Times-Picayune on our Wednesday, kind of a photo showcase, usually of a Saints game.
All right, talk for a second, because I'm going to go grab the other paper because I forgot what it was. So it's right over here on the side.
Well,
I've got to leave the.
Well, one thing I'd like to get some listener input on, and this is going to be the subject of the Twitter poll, since we are in nickname mania, and people love to give nicknames, and everybody's trying really hard to get a nickname for Alvin Kamara or the duo of Kamara and Ingram. I thought we'd throw it out there. What's the best? We talked a little bit about yesterday. What's the best Saints nickname ever?
Right.
And I've got a Twitter poll, but the unfortunate thing with the Twitter poll, it only allows 4 options.
So you need to give 3 and just say other.
Yeah, I have to say other, but I'm really struck on, I've got like 4 good ones. So I've got to eliminate one. But I'm going to throw that out there, so look for it on my Twitter account, @JeffDuncan_. Larry will retweet it. Duncan Holder, I'm sure, will retweet it. But we want to get your best Saints nicknames of all time, because we've had some great ones in the history of this franchise, especially early on in the John Mecum era. The old school Saints fans out there can certainly contribute to this, because it seemed like there were better nicknames back in the 60s and 70s and even 80s. It's hard to come up with good ones now.
Well, I got an email from Bubby saying, yep.
Bubby Brister? Is he listening to the show?
Maybe.
From up in Monroe?
Maybe so.
Okay.
But he has a nickname, unsolicited. I guess he knows we've been talking about this, so hey, let's talk. He says, Fire and Brimstone, and Fire, F-I-Y-A, Fire and Brimstone. You're going to say no?
No. I mean, come on, what is that? What's Brimstone? What the hell's that?
I don't know. Biblical. He's saying it's Old Testament.
He even sent you like a logo or something.
This giant logo with like their pads are on fire, and I'm not sure these are their actual physiques. I'm going to say that's not their real physique. It looks like Fabio.
It does. It looks
Fabio, and they put Fabio's body on the heads of Kamara and Ingram.
Kamara looks
like far more buff than
they look like they're really on the cover of a romance. Easy. I don't think they would approve of that. Although I like the fire. I like that stone. I'm not quite. No,
fire and ice.
Everybody's doing the and. I think they're forcing the and part of it
because it's 2 people.
I know, but you can. There's lots of.
As you get the Twitter poll ready to go, I'm going to go through some of these percentages, and just to kind of give you an outlook of where the Saints are looking at. Look, obviously they have 4 more games left, but they're approaching playoff fever. And you go to, I'm getting this from MakeNFLPlayoffs.com, that the Saints are essentially a virtual lock to make the playoffs. They give them a 94.7% chance of making the playoffs. But where would they end up as far as seeding is concerned as of now? Of course, these numbers change throughout each week, so I put them in my 1st and 10 column each week just to kind of show you the fluctuation, because I remember these numbers starting off at 40% and then jumping, and they've now jumped to 94.7% that they make the playoffs. But as far as the Saints landing the top seed, they have them as a 6% chance. The number 2 seed at 14.5% chance. The number 3 seed at 28.4%. The number 4 seed at 26.3%. The top wild card team 10.6%, and the last wild card spot at 8.8%. So you look at the records. You're looking at Philadelphia, and you're looking at Minnesota, and you're looking at the Rams, because the Rams are going to hold a tiebreaker over the Saints with a win. But they still have the Saints as most likely being the 3rd seed in the playoffs. I mean, I could totally buy it up, but again, that changes with fluctuation. Now, here's what's even more interesting. The website, MakeNFLPlayoffs.com, gives the Saints a 100% chance of making the playoffs if the team finishes the final 4 games 2-2 or better. So basically, if they hit 11 wins, they're guaranteed to get in. A 1-3 mark, they're 94% chance, and then even if they lose out, they have a 39% chance of getting in the playoffs. But as far as you add them all up in the top scenarios, as far as percentages, they have a 20.5% chance of getting a bye. Now, the top 3 opponents that they would see would be either Carolina, Atlanta, Seattle, or Los Angeles. So that is something that you figured if you were playing a 3 or 4 spot, you would either be playing the 5 or 6 seed. And so that's why you hear Carolina, Atlanta, Seattle's name more than anyone else, because those would be the likely wild card candidates. So it's just something to stew on, something to chew on there for Saints fans.
Yeah, and I think it's looking more and more likely. Look, there's so much to happen here in the next few weeks. It's kind of hard to speculate because so many teams are so close in this race. But it just looks, by virtue of the Saints' losses against the Rams and the Vikings, and the fact that Philadelphia is kind of, once they get through this week, I don't think they're going to lose again. They're probably going to win out. It's looking likely, unfortunately, like a 3 seed is probably the ceiling because they lose the tiebreaker head-to-head with the Vikings or the Rams. So Saints fans really need to start rooting against the Rams and Vikings to have a worse record than the Saints because they win the head-to-head. And what this is looking like to me is Saints will get 1 home game as the number 3 or 4 seed and get that game in the Dome and then probably be heading out on the road unless, of course, one of these teams gets upset. And that's always possible, especially this year in the NFC where it's so competitive. And the Rams and Vikings, frankly, haven't been there in a while. So you could easily see the Rams losing at home. That wasn't exactly the most hostile environment we were in out in L.A. I mean, it was half full. L.A. fans are just out basking in the sun, drinking their bamboo umbrella drinks. They're still figuring out this NFL thing.
They still don't even know the Rams are there half the time. They know USC plays in the Coliseum. They don't understand there are actually games on Sundays out in Los Angeles. So why don't we take a break right here on the show? When we get back, we will do some prep action. Let's go to our prep guru here at NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune, Jim Derry. We'll talk with him because it is Prep Football Championship weekend in the Dome starting tomorrow. I know he's going to be broadcasting 6 of the 9 games, so it's going to be all kinds of chaos here covering prep football this weekend. So we'll go to Jim Derry here coming up here next. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder.
I don't know what's going on. I can't get this thing to work.
Can't even get the poll.
New Orleans.
It won't let me
this
tweet.
report
Look,
is brought to you by the T.J. Martell Foundation.
Cold and wet this Wednesday. A big front moved through on Tuesday night. And behind it,
what's that all
we're
about?
seeing the temperatures drop.
Am I been put
Clouds
on like
hanging around
Twitter
the
polls?
Also
they're
remaining
banning
in
me
the
from doing
forecast
Twitter
as
polls?
plenty of overrunning moisture will continue to move in from the southwest over that cold air at the surface. It'll also be windy with winds blowing out of the north 15 to 20 for much of the day. For Fox 8, your weather authority and Bounce TV, I'm meteorologist Nicole Wood.
Join the T.J. Martell Foundation in the fight
Definitely
against
got to be Twitter's
cancer
fault.
and AIDS. Your support helps
Why don't you
facilitate
try and do it,
cutting-edge
see if you can
research
do it.
that will lead to more effective
Why would it
treatments
not work?
and save more lives.
Remove polls.
Visit tjmartell.org to learn more.
It won't let me tweet at all.
Tis
so
the season for gatherings, but not around roaring fires to roast chestnuts. And they're not gathered around TV or even the warm glow of the internet. Tis the season for Americans to gather around their radios.
Am I offline
it's true.
again?
Radio ads like this one connect with 93% of Americans every week. That's more than TV, more than Google, even more than Facebook. So if you want to reach a nice big gathering of boomers, Gen Xers, and millennials this holiday,
that's not it.
get to iHeartMedia.com and put radio at the top of your wish list.
We got JD.
Cool.
If you love this song, then you have good taste in music. And if you love the crisp and refreshing flavor of Pepsi Zero Sugar, then you have good taste in taste. Pepsi Zero Sugar. If you don't love it, you haven't tasted it. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Max Pepsi taste. Zero in on refreshment this holiday season with the great taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar.
Did you know that creating a realistic budget is one of the first steps out of the foreclosure process? I'm John Hope Bryant, the founder and CEO of Operation Hope. Let one of our HUD-certified counselors walk you through the process of helping you save your home. For 20 years and 2 million customers and clients, we've helped people help themselves. Go to our Mortgage Hope Crisis hotline online at operationhope.org or call one of our counselors at 888-388-HOPE. That's 888-388-4673.
Okay, pumpkin.
1 minute.
Who am I? Say, Mama. Mama.
Dada. Alexa, play the Tang Tangs.
Tens of millions of songs, one for every moment. Amazon Music Unlimited. For a limited time only, sign up today and receive 3 months for 99 cents at amazon.com/music unlimited. Automatically renews, cancel anytime.
Wendy's Double Stack is back in the 4 for $4 with a quarter pound of fresh, never frozen beef, which means you can get the Double Stack, the Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, or the Crispy Chicken BLT, along with 4 nuggets, small fries, and a small drink, all for just $4. And it's only around for a limited time, so you better hurry and get to Wendy's today.
All right, 10 seconds.
The deal's so good, it can't be beat. No, I said not beep.
Sorry, man. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Canada. Everybody in the club get tips. Everybody in the club get tips.
Learn what our insiders know about your home teams. Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Welcome back, Dunc and Holder, live at our NOLA.com Times-Picayune studios here at the foot of Canal
Street. We will be in Atlanta tomorrow as we're taking the show on the road. Saints Falcons will be doing our show from iHeart Studios in Hotlanta, while one Jim Derry will be in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. I don't know how I hope he's been drinking his hot tea and sipping on Hall's, or sucking on Hall's candies, cough lozenges, because he's not going to have a voice after this weekend. He'll be broadcasting 6 games. He'll be doing, 1 Thursday, 2 Friday, and 3 Saturday. Jim Derry, preps extraordinaire here at NOLA.com and the Times-Picayune. I hope you've geared yourself up, my friend. There you go. Exactly. Just in time for the bad weather. Good thing the games are going to be indoors. Well, Jim, look, this is the peak of the season. Oh, see that?
Learn something every day.
That was not Bubby Brister, though, emailing us about fire and brimstone. No, that was
another Bubby.
Oh, very nice.
Interesting. Bubby was a great at Northeast Louisiana when I was up there, and of course ended up playing for a number of years in the NFL. I think with the Steelers, wasn't he with the Broncos for a little while? Yeah, they put out a lot of quarterbacks. If you remember, they put out Doug Peterson, Stan Humphries, and Bubby Brister all about the same period of time, all played in the NFL. And yet LSU still can't get a quarterback.
Oh, what is that cheap shot about?
I don't know. It's just I can't believe these programs like that can get quarterbacks.
Cheap shot, whatever. Oh, we know. That's why we got you. That's the reason why I got you on around 10:30 as opposed to 10:45, so we could talk more about what's going on. But look, we could dive into all of these matchups, but the ones with major local ties, I'll let you pick the game first. Which game? All of them are intriguing, but if you had to pick one game that really intrigues you, what is it this weekend? Okay. Fair enough. And then, of course, the Honville. Yeah, go ahead. And Honville's taking on Zachary, so it's certainly going to be a big-time matchup.
Well, I mean, Jim, we talked about Pooka Williams before on the show, and he's obviously the focal point for every defense that plays against him, and he continues to put up these astounding numbers. Have you ever seen a run like this kid is on right now? I mean, I think it's unprecedented.
He did. Well, absolutely. Jim Derry, prep guru here at NOLA.com and Science Pick Union. Join us right here on Dunc and Holder. Got a couple more minutes left in this segment. Look, John Curtis and Catholic, that's two big-time football traditions, obviously, for the Division I title, and that's going to be a big-time matchup. Well, of course. Oh, we don't need to think about it. we've been saying this story for as long as this crazy split has happened. But, okay, you got Class 4A, Saturday afternoon, Carr, who seemingly either wins or gets to the state championship game every year. And then the team that's coming from the North Shore, Lake Shore. Look, I've been asking you about how legit they are all year long. I think they've proven they're extremely legit. How close do you think this matchup's going to be? So not that close, maybe.
backers that could be playing anywhere they want on Saturday. It's a tough matchup for Lakeshore, but look, like I said, if somebody would told me they were going to be 14-0 at this point in the season playing in the Dome, I'd have bet my house, my car, you name it, I'd have bet it, and I'd have lost it all because this team keeps proving everybody wrong, and I think they're a little surprised. At least the coaching staff, I think, is a little surprised themselves. The kids have a lot of swag, and they certainly believe that they can win. But I don't know. It's a tough matchup. We'll have to find out on Saturday afternoon, and I hope it's close. Let's put it that way.
All right, Jim. I'm going to let you run down the schedule. Let's see if you can get every game correct that you're going to be calling, starting from 11:50 a.m. tomorrow morning up until late Saturday night. So, Jim, let me see if you get them all right. I've got the list in front of me, but you tell me what you're going to be doing.
Well, let's see what I can do here. Thursday, we're doing the first game, West St. John and Kentwood, the 1 versus the 3. That'll be an interesting matchup. There are two schools that they know a little bit about each other. Friday, the first game, we're doing St. Helena and Welsh. St. Helena is from the North Shore District. And has really surprised a lot of people this year. They were supposed to be in the Dome maybe last year, and they've done it with young kids this year. Friday, obviously, De La Salle and University will have Coach Salto on with me at 3:30 approximately on Friday. And then the big 3 on Saturday, John Curtis Catholic in Division I at noon, Mandeville Seafood pregame show, 11:50. Saturday, 4A is Carr and Lakeshore, the 1 versus the 2. That'll be around 3:30, and then even though we know it's not going to start at 7, it'll be somewhere around there. The big 5A game, Hanville, Zachary, our final wrap-up, wrapping up the 4th season, Regis Radiator, NOLA.com prep games of the week, and Coach Mike Labradette will be on with me for the other 5 games.
All right, well, y'all going to be busy, and y'all going to do an awesome job. Jim Derry, NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune. We're going to have it live on air, coverage after the game, leading up to it. So NOLA.com's your place for all things state championship game weekends there in the Dome. All right, JD, appreciate the time as always, buddy, and keep those pipes cleaned.
Yeah, I hope I can speak on Sunday. We'll figure it out.
There you go.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Jim. That's Jim Derry, preps guru from NOLA.com. And the Times-Picayune. Busy weekend. While we're going to be up in Atlanta, they will be cranking it up here in the Dome, Jeff.
Yeah, when I talked to Puka Williams, he told me he'd never played in the Superdome. He's only been in it like once or twice. So for many kids like him, this is the culmination of a great career, but also, fulfillment of a dream to finally play in the Superdome on that turf that they probably watched on TV a million times. It should be very exciting.
No doubt about that. So come on back here. One more segment before we'll hit Will Guillory, Pelicans beat writer for NOLA.com. Times-Picayune Pelicans take on the Denver Nuggets tonight. So come on back here. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
Yeah, the sound just went on YouTube and it's back. I didn't do it.
And the New Orleans Saints, what can you say?
Jordy Holtberg, 2 till 4.
There's something happening here. I can't put my finger on it. All these little things adding up. I've seen 7-9 teams for the last 3 years. This is not a 7-9 team.
Sports 1280. New Orleans.
You're sending me a car.
It's a marketer's dream to connect with as many people over the holidays as the big guy in the red suit, and radio can help you do it. No flying livestock required. See, radio ads like this one connect with 93% of Americans.
I could tell you what you were doing and why it didn't work.
What? Even millennials.
All of your poll answers were too long. If there's red, it's not going to publish.
Want a stocking full of bang.
I was like, it's too long, too many characters. It won't publish it.
To work like a team of
I don't understand. You mean the answer's too long?
Too long.
At the Home Depot, free carpet installation means free carpet installation. And free includes clearing out furniture, ripping out old carpet, hauling it away, even carpeting stairs. With no hidden fees.
You and your rules.
Carpet $699
you and your damn rules.
Free installation. Only at the Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Valid on carpet priced $1 or more per square foot. Special items may be priced separately.
Password.
Pumpkin. Who am I?
Oh.
Say,
you're over there carrying the interview because I'm like, I know why it's not working, but I've got to do this interview. Then all of a sudden the sound's off on YouTube. I'm like panicking on that. I got to do this interview. I know you're carrying the interview.
Every moment. Amazon Music Unlimited. For a limited time only, sign up today and receive.
Oh, we got some good ones here though.
At Amazon.com.
Got lots of good suggestions. I forgot about Ironhead. That's a great one.
Cancel anytime.
How did we forget that?
Didn't just visit the sick and poor.
Yeah.
She moved in.
Hey, Ironhead, what's with this thingy?
Mother
10 seconds.
All, but she gave her all. Compassion. Pass it on. From the Foundation for a Better Life at news.com.
Get silly. Get silly. Get silly. Get silly.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280, New Orleans.
Get silly. Get silly. Get silly.
Welcome back to the show. 504-260-1280 is the number to get involved. Now, Jeff has... Oh my goodness! He was feverishly trying to finish a Twitter poll. Didn't know what the hell was going on.
It's not my fault. It's stupid Twitter. All their stupid rules and hoops you got to jump through to put a damn poll up.
Twitter and his rules.
It's ridiculous.
Anywho, all right. What's the poll you got up? It's nickname week apparently. Everybody's got nicknames.
Yes.
So what we got?
I wanted suggestions for the best nickname in Saints history, and the options I gave without the poll, because the stupid poll thing wouldn't work, is...
Can I tell people why the stupid poll thing didn't work?
No, we don't want to go into that. We don't want to go into that fake news. Michael the Beer Man Lewis, Sam the Field Mouse Mills, Bobby the Cajun Cannon Abear, and then I threw in an old school one because I have, from my research that I've done over the years, there was a guy named Roy Schmidt, and his nickname was Captain Weirdo. And there's another guy.
Captain Weirdo? What?
Another guy on the same team as him that I got a suggestion from, Monty Dr. Strangebrain Stickles. And then there was also Billy Furnace Face Kilmer. They were all on the first team. They had great nicknames back then. That's what I'm saying. And we also had a suggestion, actually a submission, of Craig Ironhead Hayward, which we all should have remembered. That's a great nickname.
What about Breezes?
No, that didn't make the list.
Why not?
Boo Williams. Boo's a good one.
Breezes?
No.
Are you kidding me?
The Quiet Storm, Marcus Colston.
Breezes.
And Thomas the Leg Morstead. That's kind of weak.
He's been called the Leg.
I know, it's kind of weak.
Not Breezes.
Joe Hollywood Horn.
Breezes does not make the list.
No one suggested Breezes.
How? He's only the best player to ever play football, to ever touch foot in Louisiana. And he can't even make the list.
He didn't make the list. He's the best player, not the best nickname.
Breezes.
No, that's not a great nickname.
I remember writing a column back in 2009 when I was working for CBSSports.com about Breezes and the whole Breezes name. I just said it because Tony Romo could have been the Saints quarterback if Bill Parcells actually traded Romo to Peyton, like Peyton wanted to.
Right.
And I was like, Breezes. Off the tongue than Romoses. So what if you had Romoses?
I don't even know what to say. I'm like speechless.
Biblical, Romoses, Breezes, Saints, all of it.
I do remember they were selling Breezes t-shirts in town at the height of Drew Brees mania.
Of course.
And they were going off the shelves like hotcakes, as they are prone and want to do in New Orleans. One other one I should add very quickly, Larry. Harold Lee. That's a great nickname.
Well, Hokey, everybody knows that, yeah. But people don't even think of that as a nickname. That's like real.
I know, you're right. They think of that as his
hey, his name's actually Hokey.
No one called him Harold.
No.
Probably his parents back in the day, but otherwise, I'm kind of leaning toward Furnace Face Kilmer. I like that one.
Furnace Face. Beer Man is, I think that one's always going to stick. Beer Man.
PT Cruiser, I never liked that one. That was Pierre
You were
Thomas.
hard to please.
Come on, PT Cruiser, that's cheesy.
Most nicknames are cheesy.
There goes the PT Cruiser. I mean, come on.
Why do you have to say it in that voice?
Because that's the way you would say it. Now, a lot of people are suggesting collective names, of course, like Dome Patrol.
Right.
And one that I'm just
he's putting his hand up in the air.
I just
like
have to
stopping
say,
me or something.
Well, it's going to sound. It's self-promotion.
Oh boy,
self-promotion
here we go.
I invented the Heavy Lunch Bunch name. That was my.
That was
column.
yours. That
I
was
wrote
you?
a column and invented it. Yes.
Who are they?
And none of the players liked it, but now they all love it. At the time, they refused to call themselves that. They were Martin Chase, Norman Hand, and Grady Jackson.
The Heavy Lunch Bunch?
Yes, instead of the light lunch. You always say, I'm going to go eat a light lunch. These guys were always eating heavy lunch.
Basically, you're calling them fat slobs.
Yes, exactly. That's why they didn't like it at the time.
I'm stunned. They thought it was not charming.
But it's since been embraced. Although the late Norman Hand, of course, did not like it, even all the way to the very end when Norman Hand, I would talk to him. He never quite liked it. He was great, though.
Evil.
Norman Hand was one of the best interviews we had back in the day. He was a lot like Hollis Thomas, Well,
Hollis wasn't a great interview. He was great off the interview and just needling people and being fun. You put a recorder up to his face or a microphone and he clammed up. But he'd still look at you trying to make you laugh, but he would just give lame-o answers. And then afterwards he would just dress you down as far as your whole outfit looks like you're a total loser.
So for the listeners out there, one of the funny things Hollis Thomas would do is he would just sit at his locker and make snarky comments about all the media's attire. And he had nicknames for everybody according to their bad sports writer attire. It was hilarious.
Or the TV reporters. I remember him calling one set of reporters who worked at the same station the Mascara Twins. I'm not going to embarrass who these people are, but he would call them the Mascara Twins.
He used to call Les East Hawaii 5-0 because he'd wear Hawaiian shirts all the time.
Yes, exactly.
There goes Hawaii 5-0.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he was good. So hour number 1 is up.
30.
Hour number 2 is on the way. When we get back, we'll talk Pelicans Nuggets with Will Guillory, and we'll be looking for that keyword sometime in the 11 o'clock hour. So come on back here and win yourself some Pelicans Sacramento Kings tickets. So come on back. Hour number 2 next. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. Dunc and Holder.
Somebody submitted Cool Breeze.
Cash money move over, I got this.
Breezes. I remember John Stinchcomb
If you
talking
love
about
this
that.
song,
He was like,
then you have good taste in music.
kind of sacrilegious.
And if you love the crisp and refreshing flavor of Pepsi Zero Sugar, then you have good taste in taste. Pepsi Zero Sugar. If you don't love it, you haven't tasted it. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Max Pepsi taste. Zero in on refreshment this holiday season with the great taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar.
So you know how they got these
Nothing
LA
changes
wildfires?
America
Apparently
like a
there's a
war.
fire
I had
right
one
where
growing
me and
up. My name is
Triplet
John
went to
Hope
go play
Bryant. I
frisbee
wear a suit
golf.
today because my dad wore a suit when I
Saturday
was growing
morning.
up.
It's
The
freaking-
kids
Looked
want
like
to
a
be
cool
rap
spot.
stars, athletes, and
Yeah,
drug
we-
dealers all
it
too
was-
often because that's what they
could've been
see
cool,
in their
but now
neighborhoods.
it could've been
My
cooler.
mission now is to give them something
Yeah.
different to see.
Look at
and
it.
You play a role.
This is where we
in it.
went.
It's called
I
America
know, it's crazy,
2020
isn't it?
and Hope Business in a Box Academies.
mean,
Go to
that's-
Operation
Well, that was great. I saw
Hope.org
some of the
and
stuff
join
on Twitter this morning.
Make school cool once again.
Man,
Visit us on the
we're
web
at the
at
top of our
OperationHope.org.
WODT
Tinkle time.
WNEFM HD2
Coffee
New
time.
Orleans. Listen on the free
I didn't even need my energy drinks today. Well, also, since we get off the air earlier, I'm like, giddy.
Fox Sports trending now.
Nothing good just yet for Arizona Cardinals running back Adrian Peterson not at practice today with the team. Meanwhile, in Denver Broncos have placed defensive end Derek Wolfe on IR with his neck injury, done for the season. Kelvin Benjamin, the Buffalo Bills, returned to practice today, but on a limited basis. He's got a knee injury. Dropping down to the college ranks, Chad Morris agrees on a 6-year deal with the Arkansas Razorbacks. Pitt has signed Pat Narduzzi to a brand new deal, 7 years. That'll take him through the 2024 campaign. Switching on over to Major League Baseball, Rafael Palmeiro has told Ken Rosenthal he's thinking about making a comeback to Major League Baseball at the ripe old age of 53. In the NBA, Bradley Beal drops 51 on Portland Wizards, win it 106-92. I'm David Gascon.
We are Fox. Wizard World Comic-Con, January 5th through 7th at the Ernest N. Morial Convention Center. Meet your favorite stars, including Marvel Comics Stan Lee, David Tennant from Doctor Who, and more. Get your half-off tickets for Friday, Saturday, or Sunday at foxsportsam1280.com. Keyword deals.
Wendy's Double Stack is back in the 4 for $4 with a quarter pound of fresh, never frozen beef, which means you can get the Double Stack, the Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, or the Crispy Chicken BLT, along with 4 nuggets, small fries, and a small drink, all for just $4. And it's only around for a limited time, so you better hurry and get to Wendy's today. That's a deal so good, it can't be beat. No, I said beat, not beep.
Sorry, man. Not valid in Alaska and Hawaii. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S. and Canada.
If you love this song, then you have good taste in music. And if you love the crisp and refreshing flavor of Pepsi Zero Sugar, then you have good taste in taste. Pepsi Zero Sugar. If you don't love it, you haven't tasted it. Pepsi Zero Sugar. Max Pepsi taste. Zero in on refreshment this holiday season with the great taste of Pepsi Zero Sugar.
The mortgage crisis may not have the attention it had before, but many people are still dealing with this every day. I'm the founder of Operation Hope. My name is John Hope Bryant. Losing your home is unthinkable. Let Operation Hope offer HUD-certified foreclosure prevention professionals to help you negotiate with your lender, apply for a loan modification, or take other steps to avoid foreclosure. Call Operation Hope on our 24-hour-a-day hotline at 888-388-HOPE. That's 888-388-4673.
YouTube is hiring actual human beings to screen content. Video company says by next year they will have 10,000 employees moderating content on their site. The Google-owned site has run into a rough patch this year with scandals related to content aimed at children and violent and obscene videos. YouTube receives 400 hours of new videos per minute, and the current system uses machine learning to flag videos that should be age-restricted. Critics say it's easy to fool YouTube's artificial intelligence filters. You can now order your donuts through your Chevy Impala. GM unveiling the Marketplace app for its vehicles that lets owners order ahead at Dunkin' Donuts, Starbucks, and Applebee's. You can make reservations at TGI Fridays. You can find the nearest Shell station, and in the future, you'll be able to pay for your fill-up from inside the car. The Unicode Consortium is out with the emoji finalists that could be added universally next year. In the mix are redheads, a bagel, and a pirate flag. Tech Report, Larry Olson, NBC News Radio.
North Pole Radio on iHeartRadio.
Santa here. Join me as I play all of your Christmas favorites live from my North Pole studio.
Jingle all the way. Search North Pole Radio on the free iHeartRadio app and hit play for a perfect holiday season soundtrack.
Join me for a musical sleigh ride. It's going to be lit like Rudolph's nose.
Everybody comes to sit in. Yeah,
North Pole Radio on iHeartRadio.com or on the free iHeartRadio app now.
I'll get one of those guys. I'll talk to them at the game.
Flu season is here, and it's off to a fast start. The CDC says 4 states, Georgia, Louisiana, Oklahoma, and Massachusetts, have widespread flu activity. The most dominant strain is H3N2. That's a more severe form of the flu, and it seems the current flu vaccine isn't as effective in preventing it. Still, the CDC says everyone ages 6 months and up should get a flu shot because the vaccine protects against other flu strains. A new report shows Wisconsin has the nation's heaviest drinkers. Mark Mayfield has details.
A survey
drink plenty of IPAs.
Wisconsin has the highest drinking rate in America, with about 67% of residents who had a drink this past month. Wisconsin is followed by Washington, D.C., New Hampshire.
All right, we got Will and 15 seconds.
Sweet. We'll give them tickets away
Mississippi and Oklahoma.
Heading into this break.
Okay.
Cool. Alcohol abuse.
Health update. Sarah Lee Kessler, NBC News Radio.
Dunc and Holder, hour number 2 on a Wobble Wobble Wednesday, abbreviated Dunc and Holder. We'll be heading off the air in about 24 minutes as we will hand off to Todd Grappanini and the Tulane men's basketball team. They will be hosting Southern, of course, on their Uptown campus. 11:30 pregame, noon tip-off right here on your home for Tulane's men's basketball. Sports 1280 AM. And joining us right here on the show now, it's not complete. I would feel really absent on a Wobble Wobble Wednesday without Will Guillory. It has become such a staple. I mean, even Boogie can't live life without Will on a Wobble Wobble Wednesday, even though Boogie's getting tossed at the final minute of a game, you know, all that fun and games that Will's been documenting. Will, let's just start there real quick. I know Boogie didn't talk after being ejected. He talked the next day. What was his thoughts after being tossed after a near scuffle, I'd say, with one Kevin Durant?
DeMarcus, anytime he gets into those kind of scuffles, he kind of talks about the way teams, you know, just the reputation he's built throughout his career that so many teams around the league, just they go into games with the idea that, hey, if we can get under DeMarcus' skin and maybe we can kind of slow him down, maybe we don't have the big guys to slow him down or keep him out of the paint, but the best way to kind of stop him is to get him to allow his motions to take advantage of what he's trying to do and just get his head out of the game. And I think he kind of allowed the Warriors to do that. I think it was the end of the game. The game was pretty much over, but still he was kind of, you know, going back and forth with Draymond, going back and forth with Durant, and he kind of allowed it to get the best of him. And now the really important thing with, I think, even more than just that individual, you know, case is just that now he's up to 7 technicals, and once he gets to 16, he's going to have to serve a 1-game suspension, which will be huge if that happens, you know, in February or March when this team is competing for a playoff slot. So I think he just has to do a better job of controlling his emotions and not allowing teams to get under his skin like that.
Yeah, Will, and I know Alvin Gentry addressed it after the game, and he said, look, we're continuing to talk to him, but I think it's just one of those things. DeMarcus is going to have to do it himself. I'm sure enough people have told him he probably knows he needs to keep his emotions in check, but he's an emotional guy. That's just who he is, and he's always going to battle that, and as long as he has that reputation that teams are targeting him, I think it's going to be a year-long battle with him.
Yeah, no doubt. And I say often that a lot of the times your biggest strength is your biggest weakness. And I think DeMarcus likes to play with that emotion because he kind of it gives him an edge. It allows him to bring that physicality on a night-to-night basis. So he embraces kind of the emotional way he plays the game, but also some teams can kind of use that against you and kind of say, hey, maybe if you get him to really get emotional, get him angry on the court, then that can get him, you know, out of this game or even get him thrown out of the game. And without Anthony Davis right now, due to his injury situation, the Pelicans are going to need DeMarcus Cousins to not only be on the court but be productive and be at his best. And if he's kind of getting into these little tit-for-tat, you know, matches with guys on the other teams, or he's getting thrown out of games, that's going to really hurt this team. And while they're trying to stay afloat until AD gets back.
Will Guillory covers the Pelicans for NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune, joining us right here on Dunc and Holder. What's the latest with Anthony Davis going into tonight's game, Will?
Well, I think during the weekend there was some really big fears after seeing the injury. It was a non-contact injury. He kind of went down in the Utah game, and there was some real concern about what will pop up once they put him through the MRIs. And it was very fortunate for the team that it turned out that there wasn't any structural damage. He's been moving around pretty well at practice over these past few days. So I would think that the team hasn't said this, but just from what I'm hearing, I would expect that he probably will be back at some point during this current homestand. I think he wants to get back on the court as soon as possible, obviously, you know, just to help the team because, you know, everything he does. And I think just the biggest thing right now is kind of just him dealing with the pain and kind of dealing with, you know, getting back as far as his lateral movement, being able to move up and down the court. I think that's the really important thing for him right now. But it's a huge sigh of relief because just seeing the injury initially, it kind of looked like, man, he might be out for a few months. and it turns out that maybe it'll turn out to be less than a week, which would be huge. And we're going to hear from Alvin later today to see if he's going to be out tonight. My anticipation is he's probably going to be out tonight. I would say that they're probably going to shoot for either the Sacramento game or the Philly game to get him back, and I think that'll be really big for this team, especially with the way he's been playing. Just to get him back on the court, that'll be huge.
Yeah, and I tell you, notice the Nuggets coming to town. They've got some injury questions among themselves. I know Paul Millsap had been out for a while with a wrist injury. Wilson Chandler has a back issue, and then Nikola Jokic, of course, has had an ankle, and he's one of the keys to their entire team. Do you have any idea how close they're going to be to 100% for this game?
Yeah, Millsap and Jokic will definitely be out. The team already announced that. And I believe Wilson Chandler's going in listed as questionable, but I think he played in that last game, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes tonight. But, yeah, I think they're dealing with a lot of injuries on their end right now, and I think it'll be really interesting to see, again, going back to DeMarcus Cousins, how he can attack this Nuggets front line without Millsap and Jokic. The Nuggets are going to go in really shorthanded with their bigs, and I think this will be a game where, the Pelicans are really look to kind of get the ball to DeMarcus early and often and try to get him going, and it'll be interesting to see how Denver kind of combats that. I think they'll probably do what a lot of teams do against the Pelicans, where they're just going to try to pack the paint and just say, hey, you're going to have to beat us shooting jumpers, and I think the Wizards back in the lineup, I think they've really punished teams. I think, Etuan Moore shooting a crazy high percentage right now. The same with Darius Miller. Drew Holiday's playing at a really high level. So I think it'll be interesting to see if the Pelicans go to DeMarcus early and on the rest of the team, if the Nuggets try to overcompensate to try to stop him.
Will, the last time the Pelicans played the Denver Nuggets, it didn't go so well. I think that's the biggest understatement of the universe. They lost 146 to 114, but this is back on November 17th, so a couple of weeks ago. They can't lose that bad tonight, right? Come on. Give us some hope, Will. Come on.
I'm always here to provide hope. But no, I think the loss of Jokic and Millsap are definitely huge, for this Nuggets team. I think they run their offense, the majority of the offense through those two big guys, and I think it's kind of unique the same way the Pelicans were doing early in the season before Rondo came back, kind of doing a whole bunch of stuff at the high post with Jokic, and I think losing that creator is really big. I think they've been getting some really good play out of their backup guard, Will Barton, as of late. He's a big-time scorer, and I think they'll look to him to kind of put some points on the board tonight. But I think, again, DeMarcus Cousins is a key tonight going, and I think if he has a big game, there's not much Denver can really do about it. And if he's, I can hear Jeff in my head, if he can take care of the ball, limit the turnovers, I think it'll be really big tonight, and I think they have a really good chance to pick up a win and kind of, get the team out of the funk. I think the AD injury kind of, set the team back, and they kind of lost some games that they probably felt like they should have won. And I think, just playing a team that's kind of shorthanded tonight, I think it's a good opportunity for them to kind of get things back on track.
Hey, Will, taking the glass half full approach, though, we all thought this Western Conference was going to be a bear starting the season. And look, it's still obviously very competitive, but it's not quite as crazy as we thought. I mean, once you get past that kind of big three of the Rockets, Warriors, and Spurs, it's kind of wide open. I mean, the Pelicans are at 500 right now at the 8th seed. I know we're a quarter of the way through the season. It's crazy to be talking about playoff seeds, but nevertheless, the Nuggets are the 4th seed right now, 13-10. So this thing's wide open. I think they've got a great shot if they can get AD back, get him healthy, and make this run here mid-season to kind of put themselves in position, because teams like the Clippers and the Grizzlies have really kind of free-fallen, and we all thought they might be playoff contenders. And look, they can still put it back together, the Thunder as well. But I really like where the Pelicans are when you consider after you get after those top three, it's kind of wide open.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I've joked with Alvin about this, recently. It's just during the past few years, we've always talked about how the Pelicans are the team dealing with all the major injuries, and now they're one of the few teams in the West that aren't dealing with major injuries. I mean, we talked about Denver losing Jokic and Millsap, Memphis losing Mike Conley for the past few weeks, the Clippers losing Blake Griffin and Pat Beverly, so many of those guys. The Spurs are without Kawhi Leonard. I mean, there's so many big injuries in the West. And the Pelicans, I mean, obviously they lost AD recently, but he's only expected to be out for a week or so. And, I mean even Omer Asik has given the team big minutes off the bench as of late. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy to see everybody else except the Pelicans dealing with major injury issues right now. And I think they have to do a better job kind of taking advantage of that. As they're sitting at 500 right now, obviously they're going to have to pick up some more wins to kind of solidify their spot in the playoff race. But if they can kind of keep this thing going the way it has been and they can get AD back on the court, I think they're in a great position to kind of grab one of those playoff spots. The big thing is just obviously staying healthy and figuring out how to string some wins together and start playing the way they want to with this unit with AD, DeMarcus, Rondo, and Drew. That big four they kind of want to build this foundation on now. Once they can get AD back, they can start building some of that chemistry and start putting some wins on the board. That'll be really huge.
Will Guillory, NOLA.com, the Times-Picayune covers the Pelicans for us. Pelicans are going to take on the Nuggets tonight, 7 o'clock tip at the Smoothie King Center. Look, the Nuggets have done most of their damage at home. They're 10-2. They're only 3-8 on the road, but the Pelicans are only 5-6 at home. I know they've played the Warriors a couple times at home. So do you think that there are some tangible issues playing at home where they can't get over the hump, or has the schedule just been tougher? The home schedule has just been more difficult than the road schedule?
I would say it's probably a combination of both. I think obviously playing the Warriors, 2 games before Christmas is always tough at your home, because especially with the way the Warriors played in those 2 games, coming back from big deficits, it was ridiculous. But I think Rondo talked about this yesterday, how the team just putting a big priority on having to play much better at home, having to make it a tough spot for teams to come in and win games, and they really haven't done that the past few years. And I think it'll be hard for them to really establish that playoff pedigree here and kind of, establish themselves amongst those Western Conference teams. They can start winning at home the way Denver has. And obviously, Denver is a unique case with that altitude. Teams go in there, and it's just really hard to play in the first half. You have to struggle to really kind of catch your wind and get used to that altitude. And I think that's why they kind of run a lot of teams off the court, i.e. the way they did the Pelicans a few weeks ago. But I think with New Orleans, I think they depended so much on AD and DeMarcus early in the season. You see with some of these teams that are really good at home, they rely on their role players to kind of come in, and the home crowd lifts them up, and they use those role players to kind of carry them to wins. And the Pelicans weren't able to do that early in the season. And now with Rondo and kind of bringing the best out of some of those guys, I think they want to do that more, and it'll be important for them to kind of pick up some of those wins at home, especially these next few games where you're going against the Nuggets, the Kings, some of these teams that are really lacking on the talent-wise compared to the Pelicans, especially with the injuries Denver's dealing with. So I think just to pick up some wins and really build momentum at home is really going to be big during this next stretch.
Will Guillory, NOLA.com, Times-Picayune covers the Pelicans. Check out all of his coverage of all things Pelicans, NOLA.com, and our print editions of the Times-Picayune. Pelicans taking on the Nuggets at Smoothie King Center tonight. Hey, Will, appreciate it, my man.
Hey, it may be gloomy outside, but it's always good when it's a Wobble Wobble Wednesday, so I'm happy.
Will is always a bundle of joy. Attaboy. I like it. Thanks, Will. Appreciate it.
Keep those turnover stats coming, Will.
Later. I will. Thank you. All right. We're looking for the key word. You heard it a couple of times in the first hour. I will just give a hint. It's obscure and has nothing to do with sports. So if you just want to throw out some random words, if you haven't been listening, oh well. But if you have, you know it. 504-260-1280 is the number to get Pelicans Sacramento Kings tickets Friday night. Good seats in the lower bowl. Again, looking for that key word. And Tattooed Santa, Dave DeCourbier, back in our studios, ready for your calls. So,
Larry hates Christmas. Let's just get that out there.
Sort of. We'll just put it, yeah, because the closer I get to Christmas, the closer I'm getting to where I have no more hair, because it's going to be gone maybe by the end of the week.
Look like me soon.
You'll have more hair than I will, my friend.
That's true, I will, for once in my life.
Total disasters. One more segment on an abbreviated show, so come on back. Sports 1280, NOLA.com, and the iHeartRadio app. We're Dunc and Holder. I've got my odds in from the bottom.
LSU coming back from the dead.
Do you need a note, by the way? You've done your first and 10 yet?
You're on.
You're not doing one? Okay. Well, the reason is Vincent wants me to get some note in. I don't really have anywhere to put it.
But I love him keeping it together.
I might kind of do like the first and 10 over the weekend. If I don't have anything, but what is it?
Sarah, can you step in here a moment?
Sure.
No. So, big news.
It's not even
You're being promoted to regional sales manager.
That's great to hear, Alan. Thank you.
Dr. Corporate, approved memo.
Tens of millions of songs, one for every moment.
You open that can of worms.
For a limited time only, sign up today and receive 3 months for 99 cents.
Yeah, you open.
At Amazon.com/music unlimited. Automatically renews. Cancel anytime.
Sarah, you can leave now.
Okay.
Howdy, folks. Colonel Sanders here with another important holiday message from KFC. This year, don't waste your holiday vacation cooking dinner. Instead, waste it watching TV or catching up on sleep. And let me prepare a home-style meal for the family with a KFC $20 fill-up. That's 8 pieces of delicious original recipe chicken, 2 large mashed potatoes and gravy, a large coleslaw, and 4 biscuits. Just $20. All right, get along now. That TV isn't gonna watch itself. KFC, it's finger-licking good. Available for a limited time only. Pricing and participation may vary. Tax extra.
House of Cards will be returning for its last season without Kevin Spacey. The streaming service confirming that the series would begin production of its 6th and final season early next year. Production previously suspended in October.
Observations, and I'll write a column
cut from the
next
show
morning.
on allegations of sexual assault. The final installment will feature 8 episodes with Robin Wright stepping into the lead role to make up for Spacey's absence. Bryan Singer out as director of the Freddie Mercury biopic Bohemian Rhapsody. Fox firing Singer after he disappeared from the set for 3 days amid rumors of erratic behavior. Singer issued a statement saying he was trying to deal with his mother's illness, but the studio wasn't willing to work out a deal. The studio is still planning on a December 2018 release for the film. Stone Temple Pilots getting ready for their first tour with new singer Jeff Gutt. The trek kicks off March 2nd and features several festival dates, including Rock on the Range, Welcome to Rockville, and Florida's Fort Rock. An extremely rare Paul McCartney project is making the rounds online. Only 3 copies of the recording, which was made in McCartney's home in 1965, features him speaking in a fake American accent.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unforgettable.
McCartney says he made the experimental tapes just for his Beatles bandmates as a fun thing.
41. Okay, 41.
Entertainment, Jennifer Bolsoni, NBC News Radio.
And congrats to Bart.
Bart Simpson? Only Bart I know.
This is Dunc and Holder on Sports 1280. New Orleans.
Congrats to Bart. Winners of the Pelicans Sacramento Kings tickets. We're going to be giving tickets away all month with our own Santa. We call him Tattooed Santa. Our man Dave back at iHeart Studios, and he's just rocking the ho ho ho. It's Christmas gifts everywhere, all over the place.
Tattooed Santa in the house.
We may be able to give away a wig by the end of the month. Should we just take all the clippings of my hair and stick it on with duct tape and give a hair piece away?
Well, you might need to don a wig for a while, because if it's as cold as it is today, your shaved noggin's going to be, I don't know.
It's not going to be used to that. Yeah. 10-win mark, my hair goes bye-bye thanks to my stupid bet.
Your scalp has probably never felt air. Your hair's so thick.
The last time I had short hair, like short, like shaved head, was in college. Because I did something totally stupid.
Similarly.
Yes, I shaved my head. At that time, I had long enough hair in the back to make a mullet. So we did it for Endymion one year. So we did it, and then my girlfriend at the time was none too happy.
Dropped you? Like it was hot?
No, she didn't drop me. Drop me.
I'm just saying. Never know.
But she was always, and I'm going to go my nagging woman voice here. She was, why do you always have to be the butt of the joke? Why do you have to be the funny guy? Why did you have to do that? While everyone thought it was like the greatest thing ever that I did. But that she had to deal with it. Me looking like a clown.
Sounds like a great girl. I like that voice.
Well, we're not married, so just heads up.
Just heads up. Yeah, you don't want to make a Joni. What's your Joni voice? Do you have a Joni voice? This better tread lightly here.
I'm not going to make a Joni voice.
Smart man.
I am not going to do that.
Smart man.
But, Jeff, just before the end of the show, my favorite email of the week.
Which is what?
My wacky odds from Bovada. I get them all the time, and I'm not necessarily writing my 1st and 10 column this week because it's a short week. So I will spread the joy of the odds as far as where the Saints are looking right now, as far as Super Bowl contention. Saints hold the 5th best odds in the NFL at 10-1. As far as the conference odds, the Saints are number 3 as far as the NFC Championship. Eagles and Vikings are ahead of the Saints, but the Saints holding steady at 4-1. As far as winning the NFC South, their odds have increased. They are now 1-4 to win the NFC South. The next best team, it would be Carolina 5-1, Atlanta at 7-1. The odds for the MVP race, this is looking like a 3-man race. Drew Brees, a distant 4th right now at 14-1. Tom Brady, the favorite, Carson Wentz, and then Russell Westbrook. And as far as the Offensive Rookie of the Year, the odds have not changed. That's because the odds are so heavily in favor of Alvin Kamara. I don't think they can get any lower. They might just take it off the board.
What are they?
He remains 1-5 to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year. Leonard Fournette 4-1, Kareem Hunt 9-1, Christian McCaffrey 20-1. So
yeah, I just did a stat for my NFL picks column. Fournette has really dropped off. He's had, I think, 3 consecutive games of 57 yards or less, averaging about 2 yards a carry. And he tweeted out the other day that he's running into like 11-man box.
And stop bugging him about fantasy numbers because he's running into 11-man fronts.
That's these idiots sending the players tweets or whatever. I mean, these people are idiots. They really are.
Yes, they are.
I mean, what do you think? You think he's going to try harder now because you think he cares about your fantasy team?
No, just like they don't. No one in humanity cares about our own fantasy teams except me and you.
America's gone to hell in a handbasket since David Lee Roth left Van Halen.
That was the turning point?
Yes.
Really?
Since then, it's all been downhill. If you can counter that, please do. But I think we noticed that was the apex. That was the tipping point, as Malcolm Gladwell will say, and we've never been the same.
I would beg to differ. It was either when Dylan and Brenda broke up on 90210 or when Zach and Kelly broke up, their famous breakup on Saved by the Bell. That was the real problem.
2 minutes, guys. 2 minutes.
Certainly exacerbated the situation.
Yes, I think so.
It started with Eddie Van Halen.
It started with Van Halen. Once they went to Van Hagar, everyone's tweeting about fantasy football and reaching out to people, and Twitter has become just a cesspool of disaster. And yeah, that's definitely it.
By the way, it sounds like the winner was the field mouse in the Twitter poll contest. Coming in second, no votes for Cajun Cannon. Coming in second was Ironhead Hayward.
Those are 2 classics.
Yes, no doubt about it.
Forever live. Now, just a heads up, Jeff and I taking the show on the road. We will be heading out of town tonight. We'll be doing our show from Atlanta tomorrow at the iHeart Studios, and then, of course, full blast coverage tomorrow night of Saints Falcons. So we got a great show lined up for you guys tomorrow. Jeff Schultz, sports columnist for the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, is going to jump on. It's going to be extremely heavy on Saints and Falcons. We'll touch on some Pelicans as they play tonight. We will also hit on the Sugar Bowl as well.
Yes, Jeff Hundley with the Sugar Bowl is going to visit to talk about that big matchup. Alabama-Clemson could not be better for the Sugar Bowl and for New Orleans.
No, I don't think. I still say if Wisconsin would have got in, you would have had 100,000 drunks floating around. So that might have been better.
Yeah, that would be
maybe
fun.
Not the quality of football,
but the game itself, a rematch, it's going to be awesome.
I got you. So want to thank Will Guillory, want to thank Jim Derry, and look, like I said, plenty of things to talk about tomorrow. You missed any of today's show, sports1280.com, NOLA.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and YouTube. And coming up next, Tulane men's basketball. Of course, you're home for all things Tulane men's basketball here on Sports 1280. They'll be taking on Southern, so you're about to hear Todd Grappanini give the call here. So great show today, and we'll be back with you from Atlanta tomorrow. So catch you then. Duncan Holder.
Everybody drive with it. Drive with it. Drive with it. Drive with
it. Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
All right, he's probably busy now. So.
Tattooed Santa.
All right, we got him. Walk with it. Mm-mm. I mean, that wiggly arm is like classic. I can't. you're just a magician with that.
The wiggly arm.
I just look herky jerky like I'm having a seizure.